We are the Book of Revelation generation. Michael Snyder reports, what is it going to take for people to finally start waking up? Warheads literally raining out of the sky. Russia's essentially simulating what a nuclear attack on Ukraine, fourth largest city, would look like. Yet most people don't seem to be alarmed. The Russians only use conventional warheads, but they're clearly warning us that the next time things could be very different. Meanwhile, we could see a massive escalation in the Middle East at any moment. Jesus specifically warned us that the days just before his return would be a time of wars and rumors of wars. And if you have not figured out that we are living in a time of wars and rumors of wars by now, I don't know what to say. If we really are living in the end times, war is in our future. In fact, Revelation 6:8 tells us that war will be one of the primary reasons why 1/4 of the entire globe population dies during the seal judgments. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, with hunger, with death, and with the beast of the earth. Now this is coming. Maybe you don't think it's coming right away, but if the Bible is true, it is coming. And at this moment, we're closer to an apocalyptic global war than we have been since the days of World War II. Yesterday, a British missile fired from Ukraine territory hit military base in Russia. The senior North Korean general in recent Ukrainian strikes in North Kursk region, witness officials said Thursday. It's the first time Western officials have said that a high-ranking North Korean military officer was a casualty. Now, in this conflict in Ukraine has evolved into a truly global struggle. During a speech that he just delivered, the former head of Ukrainian military boldly declared that World War III started in 2024. Ukraine's former military commander-in-chief, Valery Zaluzhny, said that the direct involvement of Russia's autocratic allies in the war on Ukraine means World War III started. He says, I believe that in 2024 we can absolutely believe that the Third World War has begun, Zaluzhny said, who is now Ukraine's envoy to the United Kingdom, during a speech at Ukrainska Pravda UP 100 award ceremony. Because in 2024 Ukraine is no longer facing Russia, soldiers from North Korea standing in front of Ukraine. So on the other side, Vladimir Putin also acknowledged that what is happening in Ukraine is now a global war. On Thursday, President Putin issued a stern warning in the wake of Ukraine launching long-range strikes on Russia's territory utilizing newly approved US and UK long-range missiles. Kiev has launched long-range missile strikes against military facilities located in internationally recognized Russian territory. He said that this action threatens to turn the Ukraine conflict into a global war. The regional Ukraine conflict instigated by the West has acquired elements of a global one, Putin spelled out, and noted that these systems cannot be used without the direct operational involvement of Western military specialists. Putin warned us that bad things would happen if Western leaders allowed Ukraine to fire long-range missiles provided by them into his country. Of course, Western leaders decided to call his bluff, and then they found out how serious the Russians really are about their red lines. And following the stunning attack on Dnipro, Putin went on television admitting to the world that his country had just used hypersonic ballistic missiles to deliver those warheads. Today, Vladimir Putin gave an unscheduled live address to the nation. He claimed that on November 19, six Atacam missiles, and November 21, several Storm Shadow missiles used by Ukraine for strikes against targets in Russia's Kursk and Bryansk regions. And according to Putin, Russia retaliated November 21st with a combined strike against Ukrainian defense industry facility. But it didn't have to come to this. Donald Trump won the election, and Joe Biden and his minions should have allowed him to make the decision about whether or not to escalate the conflict in Ukraine. But instead, it appears that they're trying to make it very difficult for Trump or anyone else to end this war. I really like how Tucker Carlson made this point during a recent interview. Quote, if you doubt how serious the opposition is to the public, not just to Trump, but to the majority of the country that voted for him, they're trying to leave him with World War III on the way out, end quote. Carlson urged. Russia is furious about the Biden administration lifting restrictions on use of U.S.-developed long-range missiles, and Putin has repeatedly stated that such a move would mean NATO countries are at war with Russia. And Carlson continued, I can't imagine a more desperate or evil thing for Tony Blinken, who I think is desperate and evil in my view, to do. Leave him with a war, end quote. Most Americans have no idea how much damage U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has done. It will be so good to see him leave Washington. But of course, there are lots of other warmongers in D.C., and they'll be pushing for a war in Ukraine to continue. If we stay on the path that we are currently on, it will lead to nuclear war. At the end of Revelation chapter 6, there appears to be a description of a future nuclear conflict. Chapter 6:12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. 13. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens, and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Have you noticed that very few people like to talk about this particular passage? But we should be talking about it because we are steamrolling towards an unthinkable global conflagration right now. We really are living in the end times. And we really are the book of Revelation generation. Bible prophecy is playing out right in front of our eyes, and yet most of the population is still in a very deep state of sleep. And this is by Michael Snyder on End of the American Dream. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. About the author, Michael Snyder's new book, Why, is available on paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 8 other books available on Amazon, including Chaos, End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecy of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and The Most Important News, and he always freely, happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.